Now in this subtask for the JSON data processor project, we're going to be working on the function filter data. That is, we're going to be filtering through the JSON file based on the input given by the user. So let's look at the objectives for this particular subtask. We have to complete the filter students function to achieve the following. So we need to allow filtering by CGP or age. We need to ask the user to give an input as to whether they want to filter by CGP or age, and if user does not give CGP or age, that is, user gives some other input other than that, then we're going to print out an error message saying invalid key, you can only filter by CGP or age. Now we need to take input from the user as to what kind of comparison they want to perform. That is, we're going to take input as comparison operator, that is either greater than, less than, greater than equal to, or less than equal to, or equal to. So equal to is a comparison operator which compares whether they are equal. Now after taking the comparison input operator, we need to ask user to give a numerical input so that we can apply the comparison operator and filter through. For example, let's say I give input as less than, I will give something like 20 for age, then the program will filter through the data to find all the values which are less than 20. And if the input is invalid, that is, it's not numeric, then we're going to print out an error message. And after applying the filter condition, we're going to loop through the student's JSON file, and then we're going to create a new JSON array object which will contain all the student records which match the filter conditions. And after that, we're going to basically print out that filtered JSON array. Here we have our expected output. Coming to the code, let's look at the filter students function. Now in the filter students function, first we're going to open the JSON file using load data function, and after that we're going to print out enter key to filter by either CGP or age. And over here we're taking input from the user as string, and we're getting .rem over here. .rem is basically going to remove any white space which might be present at the start or end of the input given by the user. Therefore, it's going to normalize all the input to be without white spaces at the start or last. And if key is not equal to CGPA and key is not equal to age, that is, it's neither CGPA or age, then we're going to print out invalid key, you can only filter by CGPA or age, and we're going to return out of the function. After that, we're going to print out enter the condition operator. And here we're taking input from the user as to what operator they want us to use. And after that, we're going to ask a value by which we need to apply this comparison operator. And after taking input for that, we're going to initialize a new variable called value. And here we have a try and catch block. So try and catch block is basically used to handle errors in Java. So where we perform whatever code is present in the try block, and if we get an error, we're going to perform whatever code is present in the catch block. So in the try block, we have value equal double.parse double value input. So why have we given this particular line over here? If you notice, the value input we took from the user is of type string. That is, it's not of numeric type, it's of type string. Therefore, we need to convert it into numeric characters to check whether or not it's a number. So over here, we are using the function parse double from the double class, which is going to convert string values into double value. Basically, it's going to try converting it into a double value. If it gets converted into a double value, then it's a valid double value. Let's say it cannot be converted. Let's say I give a string input like A, but A cannot be converted into a double. That's why we will get an error over here, after which we'll be running whatever code is present in the catch block. That is, we're going to print out invalid value, please enter a numeric value, and return out the function. And now over here we're initializing a new filtered array which will contain whatever student records match the filter conditions. And here we are iterating through every student record present in the student's JSON array. After that, over here we are getting the particular student who we are iterating through in this particular iteration. And here we are getting the actual value present at that particular key value. That is, for example, let's say user gave key value as CGPA. Then over here we are getting the CGPA of the current student we are iterating through and storing it in student value. Now after storing the CGPA value of the current student in the student value variable, here we're going to apply the comparison operators. That is, we're going to run a bunch of switch case statements. Before that, we have a boolean value called match, which is going to be set to false. That is, in case you find student records matching the values given by the user, then we're going to change this match into true, or else we're going to keep the match value as false. And in case at last, if the match value is false, we're going to print out no matching student records found. So in the switch case operators, first we have when input given by the user is greater than. So if you notice, we have given the match variable which we initialized above over here, and over here we are performing the comparisons. So over here we have not given true or false, we have just given student value greater than value. So basically what this particular statement is going to return is either true or false. That is, if student value is greater than value, then we're going to get true. And if match is true, we're going to break out of the loop, because finally we're checking over here if match is true or not. And if match is true, we're going to add it to the filtered array over here. If it's not true, then we're not going to do anything with it. And similarly, we have the same case for less than operator, greater than equal to operator, less than equal to operator, and equal to operator. Now after iterating through every student record and adding all the student records which match the filter conditions into the filtered JSON array, we're going to check whether or not the filtered JSON array is empty or not. So if it's empty, then we're going to print out no students found with this key value with this particular conditions. And if it's not empty, then we're going to print out those students. So over here we have a loop iterating through every student record, and over here we have the current student of this particular iteration, and then we're going to print out that student information. Let's just run this code once. So let me first view all students, and now let me give filter students, and let me give age greater than 20. So you can see I've got only one student called Priya Singh whose age is less than 20. Let's just submit this code once. So you pass all 5 test cases. Let's move on to the next subtask.